I'm Dennis Pilon. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Victoria in the political science department. My area of specialty is comparative elections and electoral reform, as well as Canadian politics and BC politics. On May 12th, people in this province are going to face a referendum ballot, which is going to ask them whether or not they want to keep the existing voting system, first past the post, or choose the alternative, the single transferable vote, or STV, as recommended by the BC Citizens Assembly. The proximate causes of this referendum, as we like to say in the political science jargon, were the two elections, 1996 and 2001. In 1996, the Liberal Party got more votes than the NDP, but lost the election. A lot of people thought that sounded wrong. You know, normally when someone gets more votes, they get more seats, and especially if they've got the most votes, they win the election. But that isn't what took place. That's one of the kind of weird things that can happen under our existing voting system, first past the post. So that got a lot of people angry, and they said, hey, we need to change this. We need to make it so this won't happen again. So the Liberals, who were the ones who'd suffered, said, well, if we come to power, we'll look at this. We'll examine this question. Then in 2001, of course, the opposite occurred. Now the Liberals got a majority, 57% of the vote. Okay, a lot of people like that party. But they got 97% of the seats. I mean, you know, 43% of the public said they wanted someone else, and they only got 2 seats in the legislature. So again, people said, what is up with this voting system? It doesn't seem to work very well. The Campbell Liberals, you know, they hemmed and hawed. They promised they'd do something about it. Well, finally, they sponsored what we called a Citizens Assembly. And they brought together a whole bunch of just average citizens from across the province. They studied the question, and they decided that the voting system that they thought would be the best alternative for British Columbians was going to be the single transferable vote, STV. They liked it because it still had parties. A lot of people thought parties were important. But hey, if we wanted to elect an independent, it'd probably do that too. They liked it because it would represent what people said more accurately than our current system. And they liked it because it maintained a local element, that there would still be a local member that people could say, hey, you're my MLA, and I got some problems and I want to talk to you. And so after they looked at a bunch of different options, they said, let's get rid of the current system and let's put this system, single transferable vote, STV, onto the ballot and let the people of British Columbia decide for themselves. Here's what I think you need to know to make your decision in this referendum. You need to focus on the results. You need to ask yourself, what kind of results would these two different systems tend to produce? Now, our current system tends to produce majority governments. It tends to produce one-party majority governments. And that party can do lots of stuff. So the pros, for people who like that sort of thing, is it's efficient. The party can put through its platform. And in a sense, you know who's responsible. That was the party in power, nobody else, so they have to take responsibility for the policies. If you like the sound of those results, if you think that's the way our system should work, then our existing system satisfies that. On the other hand, what would be the general results with STV? Well, STV would more accurately represent the political choices of British Columbians. STV would be more competitive all across the province. No more orphaned voters, no more phony majority governments. STV would probably produce minority or coalition governments. STV would see that just about every voter supporting a major political party would have a representative in every riding across the province. Now, if those things sound attractive to you, if you think that we can get through things like minority government and our coalition government and still get things done, then STV should be the choice for you. That's basically it. That's the performance. You've got to decide which kind of performance sounds like the kind of democracy you think we should have in British Columbia. Voting system reform is a very rare beast. It just doesn't happen very often. I mean, this is what I know. My major research project looks at every single instance of voting system reform across Western industrialized countries over the 20th century. That's a lot of time. And I can tell you there aren't many episodes of voting system reform. It just doesn't occur very often. But we need to win this one. If we don't succeed with STV this time, my prediction is that's it. That's the end of the discussion. People who want to see reform in other provinces, people who want to see reform at the federal level, forget about it. The signal to our political elites is going to be the public agrees with us. They don't want to see a change in the voting system. So it's absolutely crucially important that people take this opportunity seriously. This is it. This is make or break. You're going to have your victory now and maybe some victories in the future, or this is finished for an entire generation. That's how important this decision is.